case briefs, and so much more. LS Data's got what you're looking for.
The Alaska Supreme Court encountered a case in 1988 centered around an overbroad covenant not to compete. Data Management, Inc., the plaintiff, employed two individuals, James H. Green and Richard Van Camp, the defendants, and put into place a covenant to compete clause. Upon the termination of Green and Van Camp, the two men were held under contract not to provide similar services in Alaska for 5 years. When accused of breach of contract, the lower court ruled in favor of the defendants, labeling the covenant to compete as unenforceable. Data Management, Inc. appealed this decision, leading to the case being presented before the Alaska Supreme Court. The higher court focused on the legitimacy of the covenant not to compete, weighing whether it could be reasonably altered to become enforceable or if it had not been drafted in good faith. The common means of treating such overly broad covenants were narrowed down to 3. There's non-enforcement, deleting the broad words to make it enforceable, known as the blue pencil rule, or altering the clause in other ways to make it enforceable. The latter was deemed the most favorable approach by UCC Section 2, 302, as it allowed a less rigid process. The original injunction granted to Data Management, Inc. was then nullified by the appellate court ruling. The court overruled the lower court's decision, making the non-compete clause severable. The High Court placed the burden of proof on Data Management, Inc. to confirm they acted in good faith when drafting the covenant, and if valid, determine how the overbroad covenant can be reasonably altered. With this decision, the case was sent back to the lower court for a new investigation into the intentions of Data Management, Inc. when creating the covenant, as well as reassessing the possibility of a reasonable alteration to the clause.
Case briefs, and so much more. LS Data's got what you're looking for. Visit lsd.law, elevate your mind. Leave the stress of class.